Here we go. So welcome everyone to the CANDU Sports Show. We got episode 3 here on January 2nd. Happy New Year, everyone. Got your co-hosts here, Scott Blair, and joined by the one and only Donray Bennett. Donray, how you doing today?
Doing well. Happy New Year, and what a new year it is. We're going to get right into things in the interest of brevity and getting having some impact conversation. First and foremost, you know what it is. We're the college football playoff championships is set up. What's your take where we're at? Did you see it coming, and your overall synopsis on what you think will be the champion?
Okay, so I'm excited about this, about our talk and our episode today, because a couple of things we're going to be talking about, I hit the nail on the head through the board and out the other side. And this was one of them. So to our fans, you go check out our first episode when we were talking about the selection show. I said, hey, I was thinking Michigan, Washington, and that's what we got. Now, if you were to ask me, hey, did you think we were going to have the type of games that we had last night? No. To have 2 games that went down to the wire, 1 to overtime, 1 literally on the last play, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. Yes, should Georgia maybe have been in over Texas or Alabama? Yes, if you're going to pick the top 4 teams, Georgia should be in there, but we got those 4, and the outcome certainly proves that, hey, we had a competitive semifinal. You can't complain. That's awesome. I'm glad that we're going to have an undefeated national champion, which is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, real quick, I'll say on the Michigan side, and I know you're the Michigan guy, so you can jump in on this more than I can. But the fact that they were able to navigate those 2 huge hiccups at the beginning, no interception, thank goodness. And that was it the punt or the kickoff? I think that they struggled, right? Huge. And, you know, Jim Harbaugh is a bear at heart, so much love to him. And I just have a thing for the Huskies. I love purple too. So, but they've just had an amazing season. Awesome to see them. So that's my take. What you got?
Well, wait, and who do you got taking it?
I got Michigan. I think Michigan, I think Harbaugh's going to ride out on his horse. He's going to probably coach the Chargers, and there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, here's where I'm at. I'm not going to – I echo all of your sentiments. What I will say is for those out there who want to say, you know, see, Florida State didn't deserve it and Georgia wiped the floor. Yes and no. They were partly protesting, had half a team out there and whatnot. And if we're so concerned with one player making a big impact on a team's overall ranking, then having half the team missing should undoubtedly, for all intents and purposes, nullify the drubbing that was given. What I will say is I was impressed by Michigan's ability to dominate O-line and D-line.
Listen.
I mean, dominate is probably a strong word, but they were in control.
Ooh, the D-line.
Obviously with the yeah, exactly. They didn't even have to blitz to get that. I mean, they had a mix-up, but they didn't have to blitz. They were getting pressure regardless.
They had like 4 sacks in the first half.
5, yeah.
5?
Yeah,
okay.
they were, yep. They were, and then offensively, I mean, there were huge mistakes in that game, all done by, I mean, with the exception of the one fumble by Alabama, they were all on Michigan's side. I mean, the missed field goal from short, the missed extra point, the fumble that the next play turns into a touchdown. I mean, when you shoot yourself in the foot that much and you still come out on top, that's usually a sign that when you play this game 10 times, we're winning more than 5.
That's
and
true.
So I was pretty impressed with that. With respect to Washington, I thought they did an excellent job. They've been in a lot of close games this year. I was very surprised when I was going through. So if the national championship game is close, you know, Washington might have a little bit of an edge. I don't think it will be, to be honest. I think it'll be competitive, but I think it'll probably be a 2-score game, the majority of the game. And then, you know, being down 17 or something, Washington will somehow come back and do what to Michigan, what Texas did to them.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I bias aside, I do think Michigan takes it. Um, but as you said, great playoff games, both of them. You can't ask for anything more.
What happens to Harbaugh?
I don't see him going, but if he wins it, what else is there to do? You did it all. I mean,
I think
I don't see him going though. He's a hard guy to love, and he's got a fan base and an administration that loves him, regardless of his personality and rough love syndrome. So I think when you find home, you don't. I don't know if you want to ruffle the feathers again.
that's fair. That's fair. I think the NCAA is still after him. I think he's going to bounce. I think his heart's in the NFL to do what his brother did. So if he's got a national championship, like you said, I think he's done it all and it's time to go. And I got to add this. I don't understand, and you're a Michigan guy, so if you want to correct me, please do. I do not understand all of the fanfare around JJ McCarthy, your quarterback. I think he's a nice quarterback, but all this, like, oh my God, he's going to be this amazing NFL. I don't see it. I think he struggled at times in the Big Ten versus Penix, who has just been an amazing talent since the beginning of the season. Crazy. He was at Indiana and he left. Just think about that for a minute. But just curious your quick take on that before we bounce on the topic.
Well, my brother, Zach will kill me and Jake for saying this, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. What I will say is this: he's done what's been needed to be done. I mean, that's
Yes.
how you go
Yes.
this long with only losing one game. He has made a throw or two that are impressive, and he has the luxury of playing for a quarterback that, even if they have in a bridge version, they have a very pro-like system. And so he's demonstrated that he can orchestrate better than average, not just average, but he's made some throws and made some plays, and his composure is second to none. And when you look at the Tom Brady's and the Elvis Gerbachs and the Dreisbachs and the Greaseys and the long line of Michigan quarterbacks that have gone on to have careers, I'm not saying they're all prolific, but they've all had sustainable careers. It's that poise that brings them all together. Strong arms and poise. And he has demonstrated that he can play in a pro offense under immense pressure, big games, and not cost this team the game. Fans, a couple years ago against Ohio State, but he's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback, and I'd rather him than the likes that you're not sure what you're going to get. Great plays here and there, but can you just protect the ball and make the throws we need you to make? So that's what it is. I mean, he does what you need him to do. I think he's a more athletic Mac Jones. So I think if he gets to the right offensive system, I think he could see some success. But I don't think he's some stellar quarterback. But he's a good kid, like you said, and he doesn't. I like how he plays the game. I really do.
We got to get our stat guys on this, or unless you know. Do you know what his measurables are? I'm curious how tall he is, because I say that because from the way he plays, he actually reminds me of Russell Wilson.
Oh no, he's definitely bigger. Let me look it up real
I think
quick.
he's
But
bigger than him, but just the
he's
way
definitely bigger than him.
I think there's similar playing styles. So, but yeah. So just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, he's 6'3".
Okay, all right. So he's as big as Justin Fields then. So, all right.
Yeah,
Um,
and he's tough. He's taking hits. He took a hit last night, got up, and the way
he
he's a,
is. He is.
I
No
like
shade.
him
I'm
as
just
a
saying.
quarterback.
Yeah, I'm just
Right.
saying, I'd be hearing these talk shows on ESPN radio and stuff. They're talking about um they're talking about Drake May, they're talking about Caleb Williams, they're talking about Penix, and then they're throwing JJ's name in there. I'm like, hold on just a second. So he
Yeah.
might be more of a second, third round draft pick, not a first, but we know we got a lot of NFL teams. We'll get to this in a minute who need quarterbacks. So let's switch gears now to our other favorite sport, which would be basketball. And I know that your guy, Joel Embiid, is having a season. So let's talk about it. I'm surprised, but also not surprised because I think part of this is the air smells and feels better now that James Harden is gone. So this could be a part of that. But what you got?
Yeah, I'll keep this very brief. I didn't know. He must be under the radar if even I didn't recognize just how well he's playing right now. Um, Doing things that only the likes of Wilt has in terms of his points per game, his 30
Points
point
points
streak
per
with 10,
minutes,
10
right? His point
rebounds
per wow. Yeah, his point per
per
minute
minute.
average
He's
is crazy.
averaging more. Yeah, he's doing it phenomenally. Maxi, of course, has stepped up his game as a result. He's just been absolutely phenomenal. And this is almost like an apologetic conversation because I didn't even recognize, when you lose early, year in and year out, you kind of get to the point where it's like, look, see me in May. All right, I'll talk to you in May. I don't care about the regular season at this point. I'm paying attention, but it's hard to get excited when you've seen early exits the last 5, 6 years, whatever. Um, and as a result, I just didn't realize just how amazing his run was or is that he's on, and his efficiency. His efficiency is spectacular, and as a result, his teammates are getting shots. He's not having to score 30 on 35 shots, and so when you're able to do that on 18, 20 shots, now the rest of your team are also putting up shots, and it's a lovely thing.
Just taking a
And
look
there's
at
so
the
much movement under Nurse. There's so much movement
it's
without the
great.
ball. I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. Thankfully, we have a real offense for once.
Yeah, it's hard because I like Doc Rivers. I think we all like Doc Rivers as a person, but yeah, just their playing style with and without Harden. Right.
Yeah,
I think the offense would have looked a lot different without Harden there last year with Rivers. So that's a huge part of this. But they just beat the Bulls, my Bulls. So, the Bulls had their number. They've beaten them twice this season. But the
yeah.
Sixers got them tonight. We just got a final out of Philadelphia. 76ers 110, Chicago 97. Joel Embiid, he had a night, 31 points, 15 rebounds. Harris with 20, Maxey with 21. Oubre was he had 16. Wow, that's filling the box score up. So
I love it. I love it. They're playing the right basketball, especially with Embiid taking his break. Over the last couple games, it allows those other guys to really start filling their roles, getting themselves acclimated to the limelight, and as long as they're all getting their minutes, they're going to come to play. I love team. This
yeah.
is more of the Mavericks in against the Heat. Back when you've got
Mm,
your Dirk, and then you've got the Maestro, who's a little different, but he can put up when he needs to. They have a lot of similarities to that Dallas team. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you.
listen,
Here I go. I
listen.
don't want to get excited.
I'm
Let's just
with you. I'm
see
with
what
you.
happens.
Although there were some Spurs teams that could really move the ball, especially the last run they had with Kawhi and Duncan and
Oh, absolutely.
Ginobili. But yeah, so that's awesome. I was blown away by that points per minute average that Embiid has, which is right there with Wilt as at the top. Something like he's
Yeah.
averaging, I mean, I think he's at, I got to look at the stats here, but I think Embiid's averaging something like mid 30s per game, and he's often not even playing in the fourth quarter. So
Yep.
just
Yep.
amazing, amazing.
Yeah. What was that? I just saw a stat or heard a stat about the amount of games that he's played into the fourth quarter. It was staggering. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah. So
unbelievable. Last basketball shout out, Duke, Syracuse right now. They're at halftime. Blue Devils are up two. Hopefully my Orange be a big win on the road at Cameron Indoor. So just much love to my Orange. So good stuff.
it's incredible that we're at a day where there's no when you look at the sidelines and it's not quite what we grew up with. Even though those are two teams that I couldn't stand, it's still one. It's just nostalgia. I love those old heads on the sidelines.
And they're all gone.
I
Well,
just
the
I miss it.
Patino's like the only one left
Yep.
at St.
Yeah.
John's.
That's all right. That's wild. So, but yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to college basketball in general. It's it's different. It's a different game. It's
It's
a
going to be
it's a
new.
different game. The level of athlete that's coming in. I know they have other options now, um, but how the game's played, it's just not.
Transfer portal, everything just changes everything.
Yeah, it's not the basketball I came accustomed to. But I'm not an old man demanding the old days. I just appreciated it because that's
Get
just
off my
how I
lawn.
played.
Get off my lawn. Yep.
I love when you've got a team, a mid-major with 5 seniors out there, giving it to this, blue blood with,
Syracuse.
3 sophomores, a freshman. Like, I love that stuff. I
Yeah.
love it. That's where the competition
Yeah.
happens.
Richmond,
Um,
Syracuse, Vermont,
y-
Syracuse. Yeah. I mean, I can give you
yeah,
some examples.
come on now. I miss those days, but that's all right. I mean, this brand is for this generation. I'm sure they appreciate it as much as I did the 80s and 90s. So,
And much love to
um,
Coach Izzo. We didn't forget about you.
yeah. So,
Good stuff.
but let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. What we got next?
We got some football. Let's wrap it up with some football. We got two big storylines. We got the United Football League as we got the combination of the XFL and the USFL announced on Sunday. And then we want to talk a little bit about the end of the NFL season. But curious your thoughts on the USFL, XFL. From my perspective, I think it's exciting. I love some of
Hmm.
the innovation coming out of there. I'd love to see the NFL adopt what they've done with the kickoff, bringing the teams a little bit closer. That takes away some of the risk for injury. There's a lot of really good innovation coming out of there, and it serving as a little bit of a minor league for the NFL, which I think is fantastic. And it gives a place for some guys that maybe they don't pan out as a first, second, third round draft pick. They got a place to kind of further develop. Their career doesn't go off the rails, and maybe they can come back. So we've got the PJ Walkers and some others who have spent some time there and have done well, and are of course making a career at the NFL. So I think it's good that they're merging. Let's just bring it together. Let's get a really good product. It's awesome to see The Rock running the product. So what you got on it?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the benefits are amazing. There are some things that could work. I love the transparency they had with officiating and things of that nature.
Yeah,
And I like to see them
refreshing.
working together as opposed to, in competition, because I'm sure more can come of it. John Smith, Holy Cross, shout out. And a lot of his teammates are excellent talents that, if you have a fertile ground that um, is aligned to the NFL, maybe they start to have alignment as a minor league team, literally
Yeah,
aligning to um, NFL teams. Who knows how it works? But there's some folks out there who could really benefit from having a legit spring league that works in concert with the NFL,
yeah,
as opposed to trying to be its own entity, surviving, making money, a business
yeah,
move, but having them all together. I think it's excellent. So I'm looking forward to it. And shout out to DJ Wizard, Big Bruce, who reminded me of this. He was pretty excited about it when they announced it, mainly because if it catches on, if you start bringing in some of that top
yeah,
talent that it could really attract. The Philadelphia Stars, for instance. I love that they're opening up the season with the champions of both leagues going at it. Like things
yeah,
like that's pretty dope. But I think it has a lot of potential. And this day and age, the way marketing works and social media, there's an opportunity to make it something that isn't just on the side, but is its own thing that
yeah.
feeds the hunger during the springtime. Not to say that there isn't a lot going on already, but
Love
um,
it.
yeah. So I'm all for it. I'm
Love it.
all for it.
And we know that, like you said, the talent is there, right? Brock Purdy was literally the last pick of the draft. The talent is
Amen.
there for it to be a place for them to further develop. We got to get some Holy Cross flair up here for John, by the way,
We
too.
do.
So we'll make sure we
Yeah.
make that happen for the
As,
next episode. So
yeah.
and
And
shout
Hillsborough community down in Florida. Shout out to Caleb. Yeah, I mean, because that was good. Come on now. We got D1s looking at him. The boy's averaging 20 something, 6-6. What are we talking about? 30 the last like 4 games.
no
Come
comment.
on.
Can't comment. That'd be a recruiting infraction. Can't comment.
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
but and last thing on the United Football League, I'm sad to see the names go. Oh, they're not really going away though. I love that they made each conference is adopting the XFL and the USFL, so that's a cool thing historically.
Yeah.
And they got some good um, team names. I love the Roughnecks. I think it's the Houston Roughnecks, and you got the Battle Hawks. Battle Hawks is my
Yeah.
favorite. I think it's like blue and black.
Like,
It's a pretty cool color scheme. So I think that's
yeah.
St. Louis. So good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. And the Brahmas, of course, they're going to have the Brahmas. I mean, when you got Dwayne the Rock Johnson in there, wasn't he the Brahma Bull when he was wrestling? So yeah, he was the Brahma
Yeah,
Bull. Remember,
yeah,
he had the
yeah,
tattoo.
yeah,
So
yeah.
of course they're going to have a team
Right.
called the Brahmas. So love it. So let's wrap up our show tonight, Don Ray. With we got 1 week left in the NFL. Lots to talk about on the Eagles. I'll just say really quick for the Bears, we locked up the first pick. You couldn't listen. They had the number 1 pick in the draft. They did a good thing last year. Everyone thought that Bryce Young was the dude, and the Bears said, not sure. Let's trade." And you get a fantastic wide receiver, DJ Moore, 1,300 yards receiving. He might end up with he needs a big game next week, but he's going to end up number 2 or 3 most yards in a season for a Bears receiver, which is huge in his first season. And they got the number 1 pick again. And if they didn't mess up 3 games, Detroit, the first one, still hurts me. That game against the Denver Broncos where they were up like 28-0 or something like that. And then I'm missing the Cleveland game. Those 3, they really should have won those games. Like they're in the playoffs. Like they're sitting there at 10-6 and everything looks great. Could you imagine if they had the first pick in the draft and were sitting at 10-6? That would just be ridiculous. But they're sitting there. They're on a really nice run at the end of the season. I think Justin Fields is looking good. I think they're out of their minds if they move on from him. I just think they look like Detroit last year. They're ending the season on the right note. Build around them. Bring Marvin Harrison to Chicago. Um, bless you. But
Wow.
I'm loving. I'm feeling. I'm telling you, I am feeling a Baltimore San Francisco Super Bowl. I'm just feeling it. I'm just feeling it. I'm just feeling. It. But what you got?
Shades of Harbaugh.
Yeah,
Listen,
a rematch from what 10 years ago.
yeah. The one thing I'll say for the Bears, I know that it's more your thing, is I just remember a day when the Bears just ran the ball. That weather. If
They
you do
still
all the things,
do.
the number one.
They still got
I
the number
know,
one
but
rushing offense in the league and the number 1 rush defense in the league. They're number 1 in both.
they're the number 1 rush team in the league.
Rushing offense and rushing defense. Yes.
Wow. Well, I guess you're the Bears guy. It's kind of the few games I've seen, it just didn't look like an offense that would benefit from a number 1 seed, in the playoffs. It seemed like, the couple games. But all right, I'll defer to you. As respect to the Eagles, I'm representing because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do exactly what no one expects me to do or say, similar to what we did for Trey Turner. Okay, I could go off on a
Okay.
million things, as the rest of the
I'm
world would.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Talk to me. Let
Not going to
me
happen.
sit on the couch. Here. I'll put the glasses on and play the role
Well,
of counselor.
here's
Talk to me.
the only complaint I'm gonna say is what everyone knows, which is we might have an offensive coordinator that is well beyond his capability, a little too soon. I'm not saying he can't do it, he won't be great, but you play to win the game. You don't
Frank Reich's
team
calling.
kicks an onside kick.
Frank Reich's
You
calling.
get the ball. You have your best weapons. You have 2 of the best receivers in the game. You have a running back who can catch the ball at the backfield. You have a top 5 tight end. And your reason for running a quarterback draw and then a wide receiver screen, not to the skinniest man on the field, but having him block so now he's in a boot. Your reason is we wanted to catch him off guard. That's what he said in the press conference afterwards.
I heard it.
It's the NFL. You're not catching anyone off guard. Throw the ball and make sure that they're your best players, who are some of the best in the league,
AJ.
going up against a defense that is less than stellar. Have them go one-on-one and see who makes the play. What this dude he's playing Madden, man. He's playing Madden. I'm extremely disappointed. And everyone's gonna say, well, the players got to play. Well, I'm disappointed in the play calls. Having said all of that, The Baltimore Ravens,
Say it.
in Ray Lewis's last year out, went 2-5, I believe, in their last 7,
I remember that
and
season.
won it all.
Yeah.
And won it all. They had the same druthers. I saw a stat where they literally lost the exact games. Lost 3-0, win, loss.
Isn't that the
whatever.
season where he used like the deer antler oil or something on his busted arm? I remember.
Yeah, it was his last one. Yeah. So I'm not one of these guys. I'm not jumping off the bridge. What I am going to do
Yeah, don't do
is not going to take a 21-6 lead for granted. I thought for sure the game was over, and that's not like me. I know no game is over. But when you're going against a team that is ready to go fishing, and just try not to get hurt so that they're intact for the off season and their next contract or whatnot. Like if I'm on a 4-10 team or whatnot, and I'm not getting hurt in a meaningless game. So you're down 21-6 it just shouldn't have come down to that. So
well, here's the thing, right? If you look at the stats, because I remember watching halfway through the third quarter, and they showed the time of possession. Arizona had the ball for 30 minutes, and I think Philly had it for 9 minutes and change.
We were dominated the entire game.
Yeah.
God, the only reason why halftime score was that was, think about it.
Pick
They had
six, that was it. It was
three
pick
balls,
six.
three times inside the red zone. They got 2 field goals, penalty, and a terrible sack that Kyler took.
Yeah.
Both of those resulted in them having to kick field goals. Those should have been touchdowns. I mean, they had not been able to get stopped at all. We hold them to 6, kind of, not really our doing. Then they come back and they're driving in, and then a miscommunication by Kyler and the receiver, and he throws it deep. And I don't know how he ends up scoring. He's not the fastest man in the world, Sidney Brown. He ends up scoring 99-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Like easily going into halftime could have been 21-6 the other way.
Yeah.
Like the game was, but you're right. But even still, that's even more reason that they could have been like, whatever. This is ridiculous. But I'm just surprised. I'm surprised that I'm not surprised. I've been watching them all year, and even when we were 10-1, I was the first one to say I'm happy with a win.
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Yeah, you were saying
not
it then.
Winning football.
Yeah, you were saying
no
it then.
way we are going to play out in a playoff game. So
yeah, you were saying it then.
The good news is no one looks great. Besides the Ravens, no one looks good. San Fran is playing tough games with Washington. Dallas, we'll touch that in a second. No one looks great, so anything can happen for sure. And good thing we won't be playing at home. Let's play on the road. Let's play the underdog role for once.
And listen, that's probably the blessing, maybe, if you were to let me give a little hope for the Philadelphia faithful. Y'all are probably going to be the 5th seed, right? Sitting there at the 5th seed, who are you going to play in the first round? Probably New Orleans or Tampa. I think Tampa, because I think Tampa's playing Carolina this weekend. So going to Tampa against Baker Mayfield, that's a good way to get right. However, I could also see the storyline where Baker Mayfield is having a good little redemption season, and maybe this is the icing on the top of the cake. I don't know. But if you can go down there and beat Tampa, who's a 500 team, who do you play in the second round? San Francisco. You never know. You never know.
I'd rather play San Fran in San Fran. I'd rather, first of all, I want San Fran.
Oh,
like I gotta imagine
that'd
that
be a
locker
great
room
matchup.
wants them. They talk trash all off season, then they came here and smacked you in the mouth. Yes, you had backup linebackers for days. Everybody's injured. There's no excuse. You got embarrassed. If you don't want that game, if you're scared of that game, then I don't want you around. Like I want San Fran, and I'd rather play them there than in Philly. I think we need to be on the road, and we need to have that extra edge because the coaching staff clearly isn't giving it, and these dudes are, I don't know what's happening, but I got confidence, brother. I do. I have confidence that
I can see it.
It's not that I'm not going to say they're going to turn it around. Sirianni's talking about benching players on Sunday against the Giants, so whatever that is, but they take it. I say stronger than ever.
Oh. Listen.
From the 5 seed, they win it all.
I can see both. I can see them turning it around because it's set up for them. Tampa is a good way to get yourself right. If it's at New Orleans, that's going to be tough. Playing down there is always tough.
If they run the ball, they got to run the ball.
True.
If they run the ball,
True.
I mean, our secondary, I'm not even touching on our defense, which has been shambles. I don't know why I'm actually so excited. Now, the more I think about it, it's ridiculous. Our defense hasn't stopped literally anything or anyone from going anywhere. Our blitz package is abysmal. I literally know what we're doing every play. Everyone does. It's crazy,
Listen,
defense and offense.
I can do it with you for most Bears plays. So they've gotten a little bit better, but okay. Let's get a quick snapshot of what you think with the playoffs. But I do have to do a giant shout out in the negative. Tyrod Taylor, all you had to do was this to Saquon Barkley. This. And you make your 2-point conversion, you win, and my Bears are still in the playoff hunt. But because you can't throw a little freaking pitch right there, he was right there. My guys are eliminated. But we're still going to give it to the Packers. And listen, no better way for Justin Fields to make sure that he stays than to take down the Packers and to keep them out of the playoffs in the last game of the season. So, what you got? Let's give your snapshot. I told you mine. I'm feeling a Baltimore, San Francisco Super Bowl. I also cannot. I don't know who else out of the NFC because we talked about Philly. I can't pick Dallas just because I can't. I can't. What do you think?
All right, here's where I always say I'm not really a controversial person because I actually can see other sides of things. So I'm usually never too staunch on anything. But I will say this: if you follow just the numbers, analytics, and what will probably happen, what do I want to happen? The Birds.
Okay.
Period. Who am I rooting for? The Birds.
We know that.
And I hope everyone else. I could care less. I couldn't care less. And the last team I want to see in the Super Bowl is Dallas.
We're in agreement.
I think Dallas goes to the Super Bowl. I think Dallas comes out of the NFC. And the AFC, you know, for all their troubles, I think Kansas City finds a way. The only team that possibly, obviously, the Ravens seem like an obvious pick, but I feel like it's Kansas City or Buffalo. If Buffalo can get in there,
that's my dark horse. It's gonna be Buffalo.
And then so it could be Buffalo, Dallas again. But you know, if not the Birds, I'm pulling for Detroit. Like I want it to be the Birds or Detroit. Anyone else is gonna make me throw up in my mouth. And then in the AFC, I want Baltimore. I'm rooting for them, but it's the type of stuff where Kansas City's terrible, but somehow, they're like the Patriots of the day. They find a way. I don't believe in the Dolphins. Sorry, B-Web.
Sorry, B-Web. Yeah, unfortunately, their defense just. I don't know what's up with their D. They got Vic Fangio. Buffalo, San Francisco. That would be a nice. I dreamed of that Super Bowl when we were in the '90s. I dreamed of that. The Jim Kelly versus
they somehow
Steve
missed
Young.
Each other.
Yeah, they never
they
got
kept
it.
Missing each other.
Yeah, that would be a cool matchup if they can make that happen. So we'll see. We'll have our next episode next week as we wrap up the last week of the playoff of the regular season and get ready for the playoffs. So we'll see what we got then as all the slots will be finalized then. So this was good, everyone. This is a good look, episode 3. Thanks for joining us and be on the lookout for our next take as we break down the playoffs in a week. So peace and love, everyone.
That's it. Peace.